Turkey has changed a lot since I visited 10 years ago. For one, the Turkish lira is significantly weaker. So this delicious Turkish coffee that cost me roughly $4 back in 2012 would have cost me just 50 cents with today's conversion rate. And secondly, when I was in Istanbul, I didn't see a single crypto exchange. I mean, back then, people were just starting to wrap their heads around what the blockchain even was. But today, crypto exchanges and ads can be seen all over the city. So, why am I pointing these things out? Because today, inflation is soaring in Turkey. It's much higher than it is in other parts of the world. And many Turks are piling into risky cryptocurrencies. All of this is happening largely due to recent government policies. So I'm heading into the office to learn more about what's been going on in Turkey and how it could affect the broader global economy. Let's go. So before we talk about crypto, we have to talk about inflation and why the Turkish lira fell so quickly. See, usually central banks raise interest rates to contain inflation, and many countries around the world have started to do that. But Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called high interest rates the mother and father of all evil. That's a real quote from 2018. Not only has he demanded interest rate cuts as part of an unorthodox strategy to drive growth, but he's fired nearly every senior Turkish official who opposes his vision. So check this out. You'll see that as Turkey's central bank cut its key policy rate in the fall, the value of the Turkish lira plunged. Now, many Turks are struggling to buy food, fuel, and other essentials. Protests have broken out in the streets, and some citizens have called on Erdogan to resign. So far, Erdogan has shown no signs of reversing course, and he has maintained that cutting rates will boost growth. And that is where crypto comes in. Turks have been piling into cryptocurrencies to escape the plunging lira, even though many of those cryptocurrencies are just as volatile. And get this, they're investing in crypto despite the fact that Turkey banned crypto as a form of payment last year, and even though Erdogan has signaled more regulations are coming.
The Turkish lira has been volatile than Bitcoin and the other coins. And so we can invest in crypto bravely.
In addition to talking to a few Turks, I sat down with my colleague Caitlin Ostroff virtually since she's been reporting on the trend.
I think there's a little bit of a feeling that, crypto is, even though it might have massive price fluctuations, is here to stay, and even when it's fallen, there's always been a level of support that it's found.
Caitlin says in past downturns, Turks have moved their money into dollars, euros, and gold, and many are still doing that today. But the Turkish government has tried for years to get people to move their bank deposits back to lira, and lately it's been ramping up those efforts.
So what some people fear is that if the government is not successful in that, they may resort to more draconian measures of getting people out of dollars and euros.
That's so interesting. So a lot of this is just driven by distrust.
Yeah, there's massive distrust.
And that helps explain why many Turks are also turning to stable coins, like Tether. These are cryptocurrencies whose value is pegged to traditional currencies like the dollar. As this data from CryptoCompare shows us, Turks increasingly move their money into Tether as both rates and the value of the lira fell. If this trend continues, if more and more Turks move their money into cryptocurrencies and exit the Turkish financial system altogether, what could that mean for the country?
I mean, it would be really destabilizing and would probably lead to capital controls. So that's kind of the thing that everyone's been watching and frankly waiting for to happen in Turkey at some point.
So what does all of this mean for the broader global economy? Well, Turkey's central bank has signaled that it's done cutting rates for now. And the government announced a rescue plan to encourage people to hold the lira. But analysts still expect inflation to continue to rise and the value of the lira to remain under pressure. And some fear that further turmoil in Turkey could have bigger economic and geopolitical implications.
Some of the concern is that if Turkey goes into an economic tailspin, who are they going to get funding and aid from? And that's a little bit up in the air.
To the US and the West, Turkey is seen as a critical economic partner, NATO member, and geopolitical ally in the Middle East. So if Turkey turned to a country like Russia or China for economic aid, it would rattle nations around the world. So finally, what does this mean for the broader crypto community? The fact that Turks are moving their money into cryptocurrencies is unlikely to trigger big price moves in them. But if Erdogan responds by cracking down on crypto, it could potentially weigh on the value of Bitcoin and other digital assets, at least temporarily. So I'd love to hear from you. What do you think is the best way to protect yourself from inflation and depreciation? In other words, what would you do if you were in Turkey? Leave me a comment below. And if you learned something from this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. I'll see you next time.